Look down below. The mountain is not afraid to cry out. Why is this? And they haven't done anything yet. The worst of them is about to be destroyed. To Emperor Long. The most powerful man was also defeated. After all, this damn monster. How can I beat him again? 348 Long Soul Land. Right at a time when people are still getting scared. A humming sound. The king stood up from the ruins. Blood in his mouth. The two most obvious eyes. See this scene. Everybody's a little sobbing. And at the same time, a little more fear. Under the trap arranged by others. You can still beat your opponent in this situation. It's not trivial, of course. But most likely, it's a little bit wrong right now. The lightning on his body sputtered a lot. If this continues, I'm afraid it won't last long. The people outside are also scared. Go to advice. Big brother, big brother. Now that kid's hot. It's about to turn over the sky. We'd better withdraw. Keep fighting, maybe we all have to. The body of this place. Shut up. The Lord's hand interrupted them. There is a prince here. How can we lose? My son has never failed in 7 years. Hearing this, they looked at each other. Cry no tears. He's never been 7 before. But it's not that now, it's all broken. Even low-level martial arts does not work. What's the other way? Dreaming softly, biting lips, endlessly whispered. You've been destroyed, and don't try. To blame is to blame. That kid is so fucking crazy. The King of Heaven bit his lips, gritted my teeth and said, this bastard. The hero is the champion. 01 AI can beat me. 01 AI. He shouted out a roar of the dragon. Celestial shock. After a moment, Kim Long suddenly flew out of his body, hovering in the air. In the eyes can't help shrinking. 3 people with Vu Sun say things. Something like this. Long-distance travelers can see this. I can't help but cry out in fear. It's that thing again. Finally in the body of the Heavenly Father. What monster are you feeding? The opposite is the government. The people here are very angry. 2 hands clenched into power to crush the teacup in hand. Gritted teeth whispered, damn. That boy. You can use this in front of a crowd. Unusual is also a little urgent. Very quickly, calmly speaking. The current time. If you don't use that, it's hard to deal with the monster. I just hope it doesn't last 1,000 years. So maybe in the crowd no one knows. But don't wait for them to get their wish. Inside the war. The sound of the most powerful. Transmitted to everyone's hands. Long Soul Circuit. That's why the wind is shining right now. I finally realized what this thing is. They looked at each other in fear. Finally, look at the royal palace. Natural resources, angry scold Hongfu natural resources. You guys are big. Emperor 7 orders you to take control of the Long City. You dare to enter into the Dragon Boat 7. Long Tiger Ra, for example. You want to rebel, don't you? Hai is also curious to look at the Lonely Maple. Ask the Long Soul. What is that CA? Her face is a little unsightly. To explain that except for the lower house of the family, small families, or even a first-class family, I don't know much about this either. Dragon soul is the dragon vein of the Emperor 7th, affect the living condition of the Tianvu Empire. It's a big thing for the country. Once the arteries of the world will change. Even the great, as the third pillar of self-sacrifice said, the dragon of the world. So this 1,000 years, the most powerful of the 7 kingdoms. Take a deep breath. Looking at the lost man. The wind alone spoke again. One is the king. He has a close relationship with the 7 kingdoms. Should be trusted too. That's because in 7 countries, only the king has the strength to hold that place. Title long circuit riot 9 long birth variable. But now, this word just came out. Everyone's face changed. Looking at the emperor's people more and more taboo. You're talking. Then this land of the dragon soul is the dragon of the Emperor 7. Celestial Universe Empire. So, now Hongfu heaven called Long Soul Ra. That doesn't reveal the truth to the world. The Emperor wants to fight 9 Long alone. Replace the heavenly family. Dance Sao. Don't talk about that treason. The gossip fell on Tai Hongfu natural resources. He's even more angry. This great crime of treason the Emperor could not bear. Now the Dragon Guard is Fuang Thursday by. Absolutely. They have the right to destroy us all right here. Money mosaic. They had not yet united the 7 families. It is not enough to compare with 7. Just open war right here. The king will be destroyed. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth. Look at the royal palace of heaven. More and more cold, sound permeable, scolding the little animal. At the right time, the impermanent leader rolled his eyes and spoke. Mr. Feng said that was wrong. Although the land of the dragon soul is related to the imperial muscle, but we can't say that we're a traitor. We only do what your majesty wants. Let's do the work. Oh, your majesty, allow you to seduce the dragon soul Ra. Occupied as SAO's own. The 2-eyed white receiver flashed out, and the tone laughed coldly. If you don't explain why today, don't blame me. Let your heads return to this city. Slowly stroking the beard of the impermanent leader, sweeping his eyes towards everyone. Finally, he turned his eyes to the White House. Said coldly, Feng Xian, do you know the role of the emperor? In the city of Long, what is it? To save the dragon, Fang said coldly. The corners of his mouth slightly cracked, showing a contemptuous smile. Impermanent leaders laugh and say good. Do you know why we have to hold out? One of them laughed for an hour. Chun words 9. Dragon pulse of the sky. It was sealed by the high priest at the Dragon Palace. From 1,000 years ago, make sure the empire gets the reign. National Tai people N. Like a sadistic dragon. Once you break the seal, there will be continuous disasters. So the emperor's responsibility was to hold it there. It's actually a precaution against human unrest. The prime minister said it must be so. Towards Home Sand School, Wind slightly bowed. The impermanent leader looked at the white grinning Fang Autumn. Dragon pulse is violent. For thousands of years, there has been only one god. There is a soul with you. Then the Tai ancestors died. The dragon soul has no tame AI. They were sealed in the Dragon Palace. Who's been watching for 1,000 years? Not afraid of Sao anaphylactic dragon. Mr. Fang said. It's a myth that we deliberately led the dragon's soul raw. Don't say we are. If we give Mr. Feng a dragon's soul, do you dare to take it? You are the guardian of the dragon, the head of the sky. Do you have the confidence to tame it? You can't go to CA. How dare we touch the dragon's soul? Hear this word. I was a little confused in the mistake. I was angry, but I couldn't argue. No tiger is the god of smooth-tongued operators true. That's what he said. There's no reason to be raw. Let the king guide the spirit of Ra. Looking back at the royal palace inside, the white man said coldly, "But master can explain it to me. What is the spirit of your master's great prince?" Whoa! There's nothing to explain. Long soul chooses owner. It's not very normal. His eyes softened. Impermanence scans the eyes. Let's look a little towards the city. Smiling for an hour. The white man is even more angry. To grips tightly to the right. Grinded teeth said, "What do you say?" Impermanent leaders don't notice. Just laughing and talking. The old king was humble. Every pain and suffering wants to suffer for itself. But if you wanted to know, to avoid misunderstanding, let's report this to the world. This is mainly due to the 25 before 9 long riots. A lot. The king's bow is not strong enough to suppress. Tragic death. To cause a dragon to break the seal. It can't be recovered. Fortunately, the great prince is generous. Maybe Vietnam was chosen by the dragon soul to avoid the soul disturbing the world. There's something after this. That dragon soul can't enter the seal anymore. If you see it on your body, it's fine. So we just ignore it. Without forcing it into the seal. I'm afraid the remaining 3 dragon souls will break the seal. On the contrary, it causes trouble for the world. That's not good. The man who heard him immediately froze. Mom talks violent voices 25 years ago. Only their families were at the scene. Other than them, who knows? He wants to say no. Take a deep breath. That's what the white guy who bit his teeth said. Why are you reporting this now? Reported laughing for an hour. The impermanent leader sighed and shook his head. The Lord is also in the court. I don't know the reason inside. Can you explain this right away? Today, if not reluctantly, the first student pressed to. Then we swallow this bitter part down. Forever burying this in my heart. I don't want people to know about the past. We would rather bite our teeth than suffer. I don't want to be suspected by others. The old school didn't he laugh for an hour? In my heart for an hour. No tiger is the god of mathematics 349. What he said, how to expose this is completely reasonable. He not only shows his heart, but also ironically the suspicions of the Emperor 7th. Now, if Emperor 7 goes out to the Emperor, will definitely bear the name of harming the middle. However, the most important thing is that the soul breaks the seal. Choose Hongfu Thin as the owner. This will plant seeds in people's hearts. Hongfu ethnic group will replace the Vu Van tribe as the king of the empire. The white man here is even more angry. The truth is clearly in front of you. But he couldn't solve it. They really make people mad. Intracentric force. He's holding down. Gritted teeth, gnashed teeth, spoke up aggressively. The teacher is really good at speaking. No, I'm just telling the truth. Ha ha ha. The impermanent leader shrugged and laughed. Fang Zhuo turned and looked at the national stone town. Whether what he said was true or not. For 1,000 years, the prophecy of the priest has never been wrong. The land of heaven. That is, the person who holds the dragon's pulse will have the whole world. In short, no matter how to protect the 7 Vu Van tribes, the Holy Spirit can be. The lake must die. Inside the battlefield, I'm sure this moment can't help but take a deep breath. Look at the opposite body. Just too much. I don't believe in the so-called God as will. It's like the land of the soul. Compared to your blood. More, not less. It's a symbol of true royalty. But we've come to this step. There's no other way to turn around. Not to mention the taste buds. Even if there is no, the Holy Spirit will not ignore you. So this war must be fought. Can't go back. It's like the body is running out of oil. Can't hold out for long. We have to deal with him as quickly as possible. Thinking of this, he bit his lips. Take a few steps forward. They want to attack again. The Holy Father saw this scene. Laughed and laughed. Realized the land of the dragon's soul. But you still dare to confront the Prince Cao. It's boring to live. Do you know? My father cannot submit to this spirit. But he was only a few years old. Is it a dress? You know what that means. It's not a matter of fate. The prince is the king of heaven. To fight with God is to fight with God. In the end, there's only one way to die. I am most likely to hear this word. The face does not change. Disdain the cold. I do not blame the surprised blood that heard you. Long soul circuit. Lord of the land, the creatures that run on the ground listen to it. It is true that the royal nature possesses the divine destiny. But then Lao Tzu is Sung Thien Ma Long. Even if you break through the 9 heavens, Lao Tzu will destroy the heavens. In the eyes of Lao Tzu, little Lan Long King, as small as you are nothing. Just withdrew. He was immediately released from prison again. It was as if all the forces had gathered in the blink of an eye. The king looked at him as if he were still so arrogant. Bite your teeth angrily. 2 clenched hands into the power of speaking or. That's great. Then the prince will take the heavenly practice. Destroy the ant. Dare to despise your kingdom. Not say 2 words. He hit Ra Pan 9 Long Kim Kan. Lan Long Gadui Chow. Just for a moment, dragon soul soars to the sky. Everywhere is constantly vibrating. Gas of terrorism, suddenly from the depths of the earth. Along with that a thunderous sound of the earth-shaking dragon. Echoing through the sky. A golden dragon flying around. Finally hugging the heaven and earth pressing down. After an instant, there was a continuous roar. The power comes from the ground. It scares people endlessly. Probably the most unbearable face. I hurried to pick up the dodge. Even if you have foreseen the power of the dragon's soul. So, but he also did not expect it to be so powerful. This degree. Again a dragon's growling ears echoed. The mighty dragon rushed to the front of the most powerful track. The 3 people who saw this scene were immediately excited. The wind is even more fun laughing. The great prince truly possesses the destiny of the world champion. This time the boy will die. External white receiver. The face can't help but drop. Reluctantly sighed. No, tiger is the land of the dragon soul, only in conjunction with martial arts. The power was like that. Let's see if you win or lose. No matter what people outside talk about. Probably the most popular of all. Still the battle is burning. No one gives up AI. The most likely thing in your hand is now starting to unravel. Press decide. Ignore your actions. The Holy Father still believes that he had the victory in his hands. He laughed for an hour. Two eyes flashing like crazy, ha ha ha. The Prince of Heaven is the King of Heaven. You dare to confront the Lord. It's against heaven. The Lord wants you to die. You accept this fate. Probably the coldest face. In my eyes, the blood's constantly rising. Two hands in front of chest, keep pressing all the big X and you. I have decided that the dead must be you. The voice has ended. Most likely the world suddenly opened its mouth screaming friction. 3 subconsciously you long devil soaked. Lifting according to his scream. A shocking dragon roar rang out. A sound wave suddenly came out from his mouth. Hong Futh and Thien saw this scene. Utterly contemptuous. Laugh out loud. A small martial art move of the B'Aj1 family. How to deal with the martial art of earth crossing. Add dragon soul assistant of this young master. Ha 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 ha, track fam, you are exhausted. But not finished the sentence. His eyes suddenly widened in surprise. Sound waves from the most solid place in the world come to this place. When the distance from Kim Long is not far, suddenly burst. Finally brought Theo purple thunder. To form a great anxiety. Raise your face to the sky and scream. Death explodes a terror in the blink of an eye. Cover his eyes, fly forward. Kim Long. In the eyes can't help shrinking. God's people are afraid of what it is. What will take your life? The corners of the mouth are slightly squinted. The surest body unconsciously swayed. A trick just now. It's like spending all the energy in his body. But he is still the same, showing a cruel smile. Long Nine saw this. Not out of fear. Cry out. Is martial arts Barbie aimed directly at the dragon soul. Turned into a bird. More than that, it's probably all dead. Get in there and drag it. The Holy Father is not content. Bite your teeth and speak. Dragon soul is the regal representative. Your death. What is it that dares to confront my dragon soul? The dragon spirit bit him to death. Kim Long raised his face to the sky and screamed. Towards the surest side of the world. Face as if to tear the enemy apart. Death is not equal to the dragon's soul, is the inanimate. Probably the most contemptuous cold. And it wasn't just death inside that killed him. Martial arts of the land. I heard his scream. The blood is an hour long. Towards Kim Long violently rushed. Just for a moment, the lightning was like a long roaring dragon erupting. The lightning exploded. The world seems to be about to collapse. People just see. Kim Long touched each other. Emit an explosion of destruction. The destruction of the earth makes people tremble. And then it was even more surprising. Kim Long made a painful noise again. Screaming for every break. The soul of the land is threatened. Running back inside. The body of the emperor. In the eyes can't help shrinking. Hongfu rolled his eyes in amazement. How is this possible? The land of the dragon is threatened. That another dimension doesn't have. The bird doesn't say 2 words. He rushed towards the crowd. Hongfu below. 2 eyes full of attention. See this scene. The 3 men immediately shouted out in fear. Run! Hongfu blue face immediately dropped. Bite the teeth unsatisfied. He is the owner of heaven. You can't be defeated by immortal. He would never allow this to happen. Most likely the body has weakened. See this scene. The most unbearable mouth is over. 350 oil lamps are out. It's like this one just came out. Most likely, it almost collapsed. The lightning on the body quickly receded. Weakened body kneeling on the ground, painfully spitting out a sip of fresh blood. He risked his life. Ultimate trick of friction 3 great. The power is almost exhausted. I can't stand it anymore. You Wuxian's people here were dragged and attacked. Severe damage. Wu Sun has difficulty sitting up. There's fresh blood in his mouth, biting his teeth. He really didn't expect the worst kind of power is so strong. They tried to escape, but still affected. Hongfu was directly attacked. Maybe he was buried there. Think about here. He couldn't help but look to the surest side. When I saw him standing there, I cried out in fear. People outside opened the door. Help us out. Open the border, open the border. But we don't wait for outsiders to open the door. Behind him came the sound of tongues. Not be opened. See this scene. People are not afraid. Probably the most amazing eyes. And yet he's still alive. The evil spirit outside couldn't help screaming. He's not dead yet. They're so strong. Even the master of magic must lose his life. Stand up out of the wreckage, a body full of fresh blood. It's hard to breathe. His right arm. It has now changed into the shape of a dragon's claw. It is also this arm. I was able to catch a key of the most evil. The white man saw this. My eyes are shrinking unbelievably. How is this possible? After training to extreme scene 9, Long Kim's body has just reached the world of visualization. He just trained first. How can I make a picture? Impermanent leadership. To see the Holy Spirit, there is nothing to do. He glanced back at Feng Shu and smiled. Ha ha ha, that is the destiny of the prophet. Hear this word. The white blood can't go down. More and more panic. Maybe the nature of the royal palace is clear. It's perverted to that extent. Not yet. Training into martial arts of Long Kim Kang body. Was able to reach the mid-polar state. Picture world. I'm afraid I'll wait until I've trained for 3 years. That person is not his opponent. It will be the day when the emperor declares war on the emperor. I am afraid that you will fall into the trap. It was as though he was thinking in his heart. Impermanent leaders don't say much. Looking at the town, he said, see if you really won. It's determined. At the same time in the war. He is still alive after stabilizing his body. Not say 2 words and then lift your foot down. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of the most powerful man. A pan knocked down. In the eyes unconsciously condense. The worst of the world is not afraid to avoid. But there's no way. The force may be exhausted. Bite your lips with a little force. Finally hit out a frictional pan 3-second extinction. Devil long pan. A dragon's roar in the sky. But not for long. A pan of why. He was captured in his hands. I can't give you any more chances. In the eye of the crystal. Hong Fu Than Thin. It's like being hit by one of the most powerful. To make fear. His eyes were no longer arrogant. The opposite is fear and terror. Roar furiously. The Holy Spirit is like madness. A pan knocked down. He tore off the right arm of the most powerful. People see this scene with their eyes wide open. I am more and more anxious to scream. Since returning, she has been watching the war. Always low in fear. Even now for one. Any other woman in danger doesn't notice. Just one ink worried for why. To see this scene. She could only blink and look. It doesn't help a little. Most people have lost an arm right now. His face was a little twisted. And now he suddenly bit his lip. And pull the shit out of your back and turn it into a haystack. Towards Hong Fu the sky crashed down. This one life seems like a waste. Hong Fu delicate just gently stretching his hands. Immediately caught, not even a hair can touch it. Two eyes flashed through the cruel ray. 1,000 voices I have spoken. I won't give you another chance. You're a little tight. The Holy Father suddenly pulled one. The body of the most evil was immediately torn down. Behind you, endlessly bleed out fresh blood. I can't bear the pain of falling on the ground. Bite your teeth for an hour. You tend to see his face. Two rows of tears continuously flowing out. It hurts to the extreme. The pattern on this side is ordinary. I could not help but feel afraid and faint. She was in a hurry to help her. I'm worried. Real. No one cares about her condition. People keep their eyes fixed. Looking towards the national stone town. The impermanent leader grinned and laughed. Plan completed. This kid can't do anything anymore. But it's dangerous. I can't believe that kid's tricks. The devil has changed so dramatically. Without this final, unbeatable feat of genius, maybe everything has worked out. That's not to mention, the power of the emperor was completely destroyed. The reverence of the families attached. For the emperor, it will not be the same. He looked at the people of the families behind him. The farmer couldn't help but shake his head. Watch out after today. Everyone is aware. To fight the emperor is to fight the heavens. There will be no good ending. On the contrary, impermanent, he is pleased to nod. He wants everyone. There's this kind of feeling of submission. His goal seems to have been achieved. Jia San's school wind coldly look at everything. I have a little regret shaking my head. Or pity for that boy's ability. If you're not impulsive, you lose your mind. The victory is still 5 years. Ha ha ha, my lord. This is not like your behavior. That's great. There is nothing in this world if. Because every defeated person will die by himself. Laughing for an hour. The impermanent leader looked at the long-term San family. Tydrill, speak up. Slowly stroking the beard. The wind in his eyes flashed a ray of light. Smiling said, The old man only regretted that the boy had lost his fortune. It's a shame. Of course, this is his own doing. You can't blame others. The Prime Minister is right. Self-made harsh cannot live. But spies like us are the worst at picking up clocks. If not, you're digging your own grave. Slowly stroking the chin of the impermanent, the school of wind and sand glanced at each other. Laugh out loud together. Look inside the war. The two most likely people are now looking at each other with for eyes. They both can't stop panting to look at the enemy with wonder. Both are now exhausted, their bodies are severely injured. But at best, it's getting weaker. Hong Fu lifted his hands to form a pan. Slowly towards the surest guts of the voice. I am sure of your existence. They pose a great threat to us. But it has to end. Slight eyes looked at him. The right arm is still bleeding. His face was white, but his eyes were wide open. Hong Fu Than Thien. You dare to stop the baby. I will definitely kill you. See this scene. The royal family is a little surprised. But there's also the fighting power. I didn't laugh for an hour. Ridicule say oh. So why? But now you've been trampled underfoot by the prince. How can you kill the lord? He said it like an hour. Full body force focused on the hands. Swinging up a pan. Towards the heart most surely beat down to death. That is, right at the time of goddess creation. Are aggressively hitting down. The worst of the world's right eye suddenly flashed. A space oscillator suddenly shoots out. Probably the most. I used the second magic trick. Not that he just trained. Just like the destroyer did not come. If it wasn't for God's grace, stop in time. He must have been through this one. Just like the wind before me broke this. Right now, there's the most powerful weapon in the world. Just grazed over his shoulder. It's just a wound. It scared him no less than that. SAO can accept 351 escape. Hong Fu turned his head to look back. Where the oscillator shot through? The border creates a big hole. Rolling his eyes in wonder. Most likely, it doesn't move at all. And yet, he's made a powerful move like this. It's just too scary. But most likely this hour has the same strength and exhaustion. Lying on the ground. The whole body is blood. Painful bite of teeth. I can't believe you're not a genius. You can't kill him. That way he couldn't continue to fight. Or they will be buried in this place. Think about here, in the eyes of the strongest flashes of evil. The body pulls up a sudden cry of anguish. Bring the ink from the hand. Hong Fu Than Thien pulled off. Feel the action of why. Hong Fu is sweet in his heart. This guy wants to run. He must stop him. Then don't say 2 words. Immediately brought Long Trao aggressive fight back, the most common. There is no limit now. Most likely, they can comfortably move. No one can stop you either. I'm not a second-rate prodigy. They can break the attack. Make up for the lack of the first floor. He did not use it from the beginning. I just don't want to run away. He wanted to kill the emperor himself. People who are impermanent think that the boundary created can be set why. However, he also detained the emperor. Not Cao. as long as there is a way to kill him. At this point, they think that the impermanent death of the gods will follow. However, there is still the possibility that they will succeed. Not currently.